Welcome back to the podcast, you guys. In this episode, I am talking with Moni Castaneda all about Feng Shui, which is a way to arrange and clear the energy in your home and allow for fresh, abundant energy to flow more freely. She is the expert. She's going to tell us all about it. And if you want to declutter and attract more prosperity into your life, tune in. Let's run through the intro and get to know Moni. Imagine living fearlessly. You're focused on people, places, and things that you love, and you're letting go of the rest. Welcome to the Dissolving Fear podcast, where fear doesn't run the show, you do. Fear doesn't run this show. I'm your host, Miss Alissa Shirk. And if you're new here, welcome. I like to share inspiring guest interviews, as well as stories from my own life as a mom, teacher, life coach, and someone who is truly thriving despite fear and anxiety. So if you want to be strong, resourceful, and true to yourself, tune in as you grow stronger and evolve. Your fears dissolve. Follow this podcast. You'll love the results. Loving life is what we're all about here at the podcast and at missalissa.com. Enjoy the show and visit missalissa.com to join my free monthly newsletter and explore coaching options. Miss Moni, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Alissa.
Thank you for joining us from Tennessee. I honestly don't know a lot about Feng Shui, so I'm excited to learn from you today. My first few questions are all about decluttering, but I know Feng Shui is way more than decluttering and getting organized. It promotes positive energy and well-being and even good luck. What's your definition of Feng Shui?
Well, Feng Shui is the ancient Asian art of placement that teaches you what to put where so that you can be happy, healthy, and successful. And the idea is that your environment is always influencing you, and you take control of your environment so that your spaces, your things, are constantly telling you good things. So you get good feedback about your life, about what you're like, about your taste, and about a sense of safety. Like your coaching is based on living a fear-free life, right? But if the home is making you afraid in any way, that becomes so much harder. But if you feel completely, absolutely 100% safe in your home, living a fear-free life becomes easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's basically taking control over your spaces. You know, like a lot of people have a bad feeling with the word control, but control is good, right? When you're driving, you want to have full control of your car, for example. You don't want to lose control, right? And so your home determines how you see life. It makes sense that you would take control of everything that your home is telling you.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. I was looking at your reels on TikTok and you have so many good tips, and I have so many questions for you today.
Oh.
How did you get into this work?
Well, I have been in the United States 30 years. And the month before I moved to the States, I graduated as an architect. And then I moved to the States and I went for my first job interview, and I found out my degree didn't transfer. So I wouldn't be able to practice architecture here unless I went to school for 4 or 5 years. They would take my education of 6 years and allow me to skip the first year in school here. And so that was, as you can imagine, it was pretty shocking when you have spent so much time doing something. So I was telling this to a friend, and my friend who was into Asian things, she told me, why don't you look into Feng Shui? It's along the lines of architecture, but you wouldn't have to go back to school for it, right? And so I started looking at Feng Shui, and it was like love at first sight. One of my friends called it being bit by the Feng Shui bug, and then you are all you can think about is Feng Shui. So that happened.
You walk into a new house at a dinner party, you're like, oh my gosh, this entryway needs some Feng Shui.
You know, in the beginning, everywhere I go, it's like, oh, you know, good Feng Shui, bad Feng Shui. But I mean, over time, you know, when you go visit friends, you're just there for the friends. You're not there to criticize our house. Yeah. But one thing that was really that caught my attention was like I met these people that told me, oh, I completely feng shui my home. I have had a feng shui consultant come to my place, and I would be like, invite me, invite me over so I can see. And the homes look really, really strange. I expected if you're doing feng shui, you're going to come into beauty. Because when you look at the spaces in ancient East Asia that were built with feng shui principles in mind, they're breathtakingly gorgeous and they're absolutely beautiful. But when I went into places that had been feng shui here in the West, they look strange, you know. So you do see these trinkets, you know, like this red ribbon tying 3 coins and this little frog that was missing one of the legs and these little Buddhas and things in homes that where that didn't fit, right? Because I love the aesthetics of a Chinese restaurant. You know, I love the food and I love going in and I love the decoration, but I don't necessarily want that for my place because my place is decorated in a different style. So back then I lived in Mississippi, so I would go to a house that was decorated completely in Southern country style. And then all of a sudden you had this jade and the gold and red trinkets hanging from the ceiling. They just looked out of place. So I thought, oh, wow, you know, something is getting lost in translation because we're not getting beauty, we're just getting strangeness, you know? So like, I think when you come into your home that has been feng shui, part of you should go, wow, this is amazing. And so for me, there was this huge disconnect between the theory and the practice. And then there were so many schools and there was so much contradiction. And there was also a lot of superstition. Over time, a lot of superstition got attached to feng shui. So I wanted to go back to the roots. And fortunately, I was in contact with a person that is an acupuncturist. And so she told me, did you know that acupuncture and feng shui have the same roots? And also Qigong and Tai Chi and herbalism, Chinese herbalism, and Chinese massage, which is called Tuina. They all have the same source. And so the source is the principles of ancient East Asian healing. So I went back to the source and I saw, okay, how are these principles applied to the body and how would they be applied to the home? And so I started applying that and I started testing it. And the results were amazing. So instead of using these trinkets that were imported from another culture, I figured out how can we use beautiful lighting, beautiful art and decorations, elegant furniture to produce the same effects in a way that fits our expectations in terms of aesthetic and elegance that we all have that are proper to our culture, right? So that's what I did. And I created a system that you apply from beginning to end, you end up with a dream home.
Yes. And we'll get into like how we can all create a dream home because on your social media, you definitely do not talk about trinkets, frogs, and superstition. It's much more about, like you said, the lighting in the house, and also like getting rid of broken things, glass tables, you
Exactly.
know,
Yeah.
and clutter. So let's start with clutter. Can you share a few easy ways to declutter around the house? Things my listeners can do today to make a big difference and a positive impact.
So first of all, my definition of clutter is decisions delayed. Every single item in your home is something that when you needed to make a decision about it, instead of making a decision, you just dropped it in its place, right? So for example, you go to the store and you get new lamps for your primary bedroom and you have the old lamps to dispose of, right? That's when you need to make a decision. Am I going to sell this? Am I going to give them away? And am I going to take them to the thrift store? Are they too old? They need to go in the trash. But instead of making a decision, you take them to the garage. And you don't have to think about it, right? And that's how clutter happens. Even if you just avoided making one decision every day of your life, in 1 year, you will have 365 items out of place. And when people go in, you know, into those homes that show up on TV, you know, like hoarders and stuff like that, they find thousands of items in excess, not dozens, not hundreds, thousands of items in excess. And it's not unusual for any family in the United States to have hundreds to thousands, I mean, to a couple thousand items that shouldn't be in their home. And you think about these numbers and it seems to you like, no, there's no way, right? There's no way. But in homes, especially like if you have a garage that has become a junk place, if you have an unfinished basement, if you have an attic, there's so many things. I mean, just thinking about the holidays, right? Think about holiday decorations that are broken, that are no longer good, and you still keep them, and you keep boxes and boxes full of these items that you no longer use. And so those are the numbers. You have hundreds or thousands of things that you avoided making decisions on, right? And so when you start to declutter your home, you have to make all these decisions at once. And that is a sure way to make yourself tired, exhausted, upset, even dizzy, because making decisions uses brain power, and brain power consumes glucose. And so what I teach people is to do decluttering in a way that you work on categories of items instead of one item at a time, right? And so instead of picking up every single item from, say, an organized office, picking up every single item and thinking, what should I do with this? Where does this belong? You just have pre-made decisions for categories of objects. So that's what I teach people to do. For example, when you get your mail every day, there's a bunch of junk mail. And so the junk mail can just be recycled, right? That is a pre-made decision that you have made for a category of objects. And so imagine if every time you get the mail, you're going to open up every single envelope and read through it and then decide what you're going to do with it. When most junk mail is just going to end up being recycled, hopefully, and it might end up in the trash, but hopefully you do recycle. And so when you make decisions by categories of items, life becomes so much easier. But let's talk about practical things that you can do, right? I have two methods to teach people to declutter. I have taught moms that had toddlers and preschoolers these methods, and their children that little, they started helping to organize their spaces. So it's a really effective method, right? And basically, what you do is you start by removing trash, then you move things that can be recycled, then you look for things that are broken, then you decide if those things that are broken can be fixed or cannot be fixed. If they can be fixed, who's going to fix them? Then you decide if something belongs in the place where it is or needs to be moved to another place. So there's a process that we follow. And that would be too much to share in a podcast, but I want to share my other method for decluttering. And this is for people who are really, really feeling stuck, and they have reached a point of desperation where they feel like nothing can be improved, and they're 100% embarrassed about their homes. And this is called the embarrassment method. So this is how it works. You think of a person who really loves you and who you love and respect. And you imagine that person is going to come visit you. And you think about what is the one thing that you would be most embarrassed about if that person came to visit you, and you fix that one thing. Once that thing is fixed, you ask the question again, if this person I love and respect would come to visit me, what is the thing that would make me feel so embarrassed that I have disappointed them? And so you can go that way, and it works beautifully. And by working on the things that embarrass you the most, you are removing embarrassment from your home. And every single task that you do, you are a little less embarrassed about your home, because nothing keeps you stuck as much as the feeling of embarrassment.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And you're a little bit more proud of your home, and you're a little bit more proud of yourself, rather than feeling ashamed, like, oh my gosh, I have 5 piles of laundry around. And yeah. They're 10 and 13. And at my house, it's like there's a place for everything, and everything is in its place. And like, where does this go? It's not, the answer is not on the floor in front of the fireplace. There's a place for everything. And so once you can dial it in, I think that's a really good rule that we have.
Well, I'm proud of you for that, but that's not the truth of most American households, especially when you have children, right? I've seen too many homes where the children take over the whole space, where, their bedrooms are playrooms, the dining room is a playroom, the living room is a playroom, and even sometimes the parents' bedroom becomes a playroom. So you have to set limits, and you have to teach children how to clean and organize from when they're little. Because if you, like from what you tell me, I can deduce that you taught your children how to clean their bedrooms. But you don't just run around the house screaming at everybody to clean their bedrooms without ever having taught them how to do it. And so when I teach people to declare and organize their homes, we start with the floors, and we focus only on the floor. When the floor is clear, then we move to knee level, which would be beds, coffee tables, right? Then we move to hip level, which would be tables, countertops, those kinds of things. And then we do the higher shelves. But by cleaning and organizing in that way, it makes it so much easier, because the basic of being healthy, safe, and happy at home is being able to walk through your home. If your floor is full of things that shouldn't be there, I mean, you can't even walk through your home. And that symbolically means that you're putting blocks on your way all the time.
Like walking through life, you're going to feel like a
Yeah.
little held back as you walk through life.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I feel like you have helped a lot of people with a lot of clutter already. I mean, I know that
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it can be overwhelming having kids. That is for sure. One thing I always do is, because I'm a teacher and a coach, and being a teacher helps me be a better parent, because, I'm a little bit more strict as a parent because I'm a teacher. And
Yeah.
what you have to do is you have to tell the kids what to do. Don't tell them what not to do. Like, hey, don't make a mess. You have to tell them what you
Yes.
want them to do. Like, pick up the cup off the floor, put it in the sink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it becomes automatic, right? When one of the things I like to say is, good mothers do everything for their children. Exceptional mothers teach children to do everything for themselves.
Yes, because if we start telling them what to do and giving them guidance, that will be their internal self-talk and their internal guidance. They'll tell themselves, oh, I better pick up my floor.
And doing it in a positive way, right? If you connect good memories with cleaning up the house or picking up things, that's going to be something they carry with them into adulthood. But if you connect cleaning the house with being berated, being screamed at, and making them feel like they're slobs or not good people because they didn't clean up their rooms, that's not going to be a good thing. They're going to carry that negative internal voice with themselves. Now, I'm not saying it's never going to be a challenge, and it changes with age. I developed the method I teach for children, which is called the Dream, Clean, Kid, and Teen process. I developed that for my children. When my children were little, I was like, okay, how can I help them organize their things? And it worked really, really well for a very long time. But then there were periods when they just didn't want to, or when they felt like my kids are adults now. So each of them, when they turned 18, they were like, oh, I don't have to do this anymore, because I'm an adult. And, but the important thing is that you taught them and they know how to do it. And even though they might let their bedrooms go, if they feel motivated enough, they will clean, and it will be easy for them to clean. I have a video that I took of a girl, she's 14 now, but she was 10 at the time. She was 10 years old, and her room was complete chaos. And she cleaned up her room by herself completely in 1.5 hours. And we recorded her just by following this process with no help. And the place was in complete chaos, right? And it took her 1.5 hours to bring it back to complete, absolutely 100% order. But the next time it took less time, and the next time it took less time, right? Because once you get into the groove and you mostly keep your bedroom clean, when it gets messy, it's easy to pick up.
Yeah, when you come back from a trip and have all the suitcases open, things like that, it becomes easier to get back to normal because you have the
Yes.
routine of how to clean and things like that.
And like you said, everything has a place.
Yeah. One more parenting thing that we did, we had a little song when my kids were little, and it was like, clean up, everybody, everywhere, clean up, everybody, do your
That's
share.
nice. Yeah, that's beautiful. So tying up good memories to keep in house is so important.
Yeah, like you said, make it fun. I feel like some people think feng shui is superstitious or some sort of Eastern religion, but it just makes sense. And I agree, like it helps to have a clean and dust-free house. I think,
Yes.
like my kids, I don't want them to ever be sick. So I keep the house nice and clean and vacuumed. You
Uh-huh.
tell people to clean out things from under their bed because
Yes.
storing things under there. It's not just about the energy or the feng shui. It collects dust bunnies and it
And
causes,
allergens,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
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 Hmm.
And by what you said, like feng shui, the way I practice it is not superstitious and it's not religious. But there are schools of feng shui that are very superstitious. There's a school of feng shui that tells people you divide your home in 8 pie-shaped shapes, and 4 of those are good for you, and 4 of those are bad for you, depending on where you were born, right? So that is superstitious because that makes people afraid of certain spots in their homes. And
Yeah.
then there's other schools of feng shui that are religious. Actually, one of the most popular schools in the United States is based on a type of Buddhism. And so I want to mention this, right? Because a lot of people, they get exposed to this type of feng shui and they get disillusioned with feng shui because they're thinking, if I start doing feng shui, I'm going to do something that's against my religion, or I'm going to be giving into superstitions, right? But if you find a good source, like my school, where I have gone back to the source, which is the same principles of healing that you use in acupuncture, right? Or doing when you do Tai Chi, which is the healing type of movement. This is just based on reality. These are things that are based on how life is, on the natural laws. It's not superstition, it's not religion.
What's your website, by the way? Usually I ask at the very end, but I know you've
Oh,
mentioned a lot of your programs already.
yes, my website is 9steps2fengshui.com, which is the name of my system, 9steps2fengshui.com. You can also get there by typing spacearrangement.com, spacearrangement.com. And if you go to my website, the thing I ask people to do first, you're going to see on the menu, there's an item to join my online community. And right now, it's brand new. So the founding members will get to join the community and never have to pay a penny. And they can be there and join a lot of people who are also interested in feng shui, interested in turning their current homes into dream homes. And inside of this community that is going to be free for all the founding members, your first course is on me. So I actually have a course that is on feng shui mindset. And I think this is going to be very relevant to what you do, because what I have seen is that it is people's emotions that get in their way when they start doing feng shui. And because your home is full of memories, right? When you go into any room of your home, it's full of memories, like in the kitchen. You have these mugs that you got in different places that you visited. And the different kitchen utensils, they remind you of the many dishes that you have prepared in your kitchen. Your home is full of memories. If you go into your closet, every piece of clothing that you have there, every garment comes with memories. And it's not just the memories of your current home, it's the memories of the homes where you lived before. It's the memory of your home when you were single. It's the memory of your first home after you left your parents' home. It's the memories of your parents' rooms and your grandparents and your aunts and uncles. And so what happens to a lot of people when they start doing feng shui, for example, when they have this motivation that they're going to declutter their home and they're going to live a decluttered life and an organized life, emotions come to the surface as you are going through the items that you're going to declutter, and that's where people get stuck. So when people come to my community, they can take this class completely free, which is a class on Feng Shui mindset, where they learn to use some techniques from Feng Shui and other branches of ancient East Asian healing to manage their emotions, right? And we have one tool that is specific to address fear, helps people process their fears. And so there's also in the community, there's other courses that you can take. But if you start with this course, things become a lot easier. I like to say, if fear is the only reason that I don't want to do something, I do it. If there's other good reasons, right? If I want to do something and there's plenty of good reasons why I shouldn't do it, and I'm also afraid to do it, I should listen to those other reasons and not do it, right? But if I want to do something and fear is the only thing stopping me from doing the thing, I do it. I make myself do it because I'm not going to let myself be ruled by fear. But there's certain things that you can do in your home to reduce the fear. And there's other things in your home that increase the fear. And like you mentioned, on TikTok, where you were looking at the reels that I'm making and that, one of the things that I had mentioned is those glass coffee tables with sharp corners.
Yeah.
Those are dangerous. I have been into homes where every single person who lives in that home, the 5 people who live in that home, each of them has at some point hurt their shins on that coffee table, and they still keep it, right? Mm-hmm. And so when there are things in your home that make you afraid, you're going to go through life afraid. And there's other things that may be happening in your home that they're not properly maintained. They make you feel afraid. So for example, if you have a leak, if your kitchen faucet is leaking, you're constantly going to be afraid of floods. Like there's going to be water damage in your house, right? Because, there's a good reason. A leak that is little now can become really bad while you're away on vacation, for example. So there's all these things that may happen in the home that increase your fight or flight response, right? And there's many beautiful things that you can do in your home so you can feel safe and happy.
Yeah. I love the Feng Shui mindset because it's like a letting go mindset, like you look at an item, let's just say it's my bracelet, and you might think, oh my gosh, there's so many memories in this bracelet. But if it's broken, if it's irreparable, whatever it is, like you have to let go, even if it's fond memories. Exactly. And then I feel like sometimes we might have like bad memories, like we wish things had been different, but we cannot go back and change. And so we need to let go of that as well. Because sometimes we want to rewrite the past, but really we're architects.
Those are very good points.
We're writing our future.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, things have lifespans. If you have a beautiful top, that is your favorite top, but now it has holes in them, you need to let it go, unless that's the fashion, right? But I remember I had this dress that was my favorite dress ever. And at some point, I'm about to put it away after doing laundry, and I lift it, and it's kind of transparent now because it has gone through so many washes. And I'm like, this doesn't even feel like fabric anymore. It feels like rice paper or something. And so you have to understand things have a lifespan. And then the other thing is that you should not keep things in your home that give you bad memories. I have a friend that she got a divorce, right? And in the divorce, she fought so hard to keep a collection of LPs that had classical music, right? Yeah. And then she could never enjoy them because every time she got one LP out and she put it on the player and she listened to the music she used to love, all these memories came to her of how bitter the divorce was. And so sometimes you have to understand if something gives you bad memories, it's not worth keeping. And so many people fight, like during a divorce to keep something just because the other person loves it. But that becomes an object that drains your energy after the fact.
Yeah. And just because you worked hard for something, if it doesn't bring you joy now, don't keep it. If she worked hard to get this in the divorce, if it's, giving her the ick now, don't use it. Just get rid of it. Sell it. Make a little.
Yeah, probably sell it. You get good money for that. You buy yourself something nicer. But it's so true that things have memories within them.
Yeah.
And when you let them go, you can also make a conscious decision to let go of the negative emotions that come with that. So some of the things that you learn in the Feng Shui mindset course is, how to process your fears and turn them into gratitude. You also learn how to deal with obsessive thoughts by doing a particular type of journaling that I teach. You learn how to manage your energy. You learn what to do with emotions. So there's this ancient East Asian medicine technique of letting emotions go through you by pretending you're a tree.
A tree.
Tree, like you're a tree. So think of a tree like a really large, beautiful maple tree, for example. When a strong wind comes through, the wind takes down the dead branches and the dead leaves and cleanses the tree, and everything falls to the ground. And in the ground, it is reabsorbed and recycled, right? And so one of these techniques that comes from ancient East Asian medicine is that when you feel a strong emotion coming at you, instead of blocking it, instead of trying to get rid of it, instead of trying to distract yourself, you just feel it. And you feel it by imagining that you are a tree and the emotion is a wind. So you just let the emotion come through you and not get stuck anywhere, just go through you as if you were a tree. And everything that needs healing in you, everything that is clutter in your system, right? Everything that is dead or dry, it gets cleansed by this emotion and just falls to the ground. And it's such a easy thing to do, and it's so effective. So the reason for doing this, right, is that I have seen people quit their Feng Shui training, because I teach people to become Feng Shui experts. And I also teach other classes and I work with clients, right? And most of the time, if people quit their program, it's because they cannot handle their emotions. And so now that I'm redesigning my community and redesigning the way I teach Feng Shui, I'm asking people to do this first. So that when those memories come, when they're in their basement, opening up boxes and they find their mom's sweater, they are not on the floor with grief, because Feng Shui is a very emotional thing. Going through your home is emotional. And one of the most emotional things in the process of doing Feng Shui is, in fact, decluttering, because it's a trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, whether you're like in your basement with your mom's sweater and you miss her and it's sad, or whether you just have like bad memories you'd rather not even remember from childhood, like sometimes you don't even know what's going to come up. And I think that probably catches a lot of people off guard too. Like you open a drawer, you're like, I'm gonna declutter it, and then like you're caught off guard with memories and emotions that come up. I'll just mention one example.
Yes.
I was over at my mom's and she shows me this picture of the house I grew up in Pennsylvania. And she's like, oh, look. And I was just like, I just didn't expect it, but I had like all these like bad emotions come up, like, oh my gosh,
Really?
that house was more important to them than me because my dad was always fixing it up. And,
Wow.
I wasn't allowed to like touch anything because I was going to mess it up. And it was just, I didn't expect it at all. My mom's like, look, cute. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
That is such a good example. That is such a
Yeah.
good example of what we're talking about here, right? Even the photo of the house where you used to live has the memories, right? Imagine
I
a
don't want
box
that
you
photo.
brought from there. Yeah. And your kids' toys, their clothes, their favorite T-shirt in every single stage of their growing up, right? And so it's a deeply emotional thing to work on the Feng Shui of your home. And what you want to do is you want to transform your home so that your home is constantly telling you good things. So your home tells you you are beautiful, you are smart, you are strong, you are a gift to the world, because your home is constantly talking to you. So like if you think about affirmations, right? So many people today, they do affirmations. And if you are telling yourself something that is good about yourself, but when you look around, your home is telling you that's not true, that is going to drain you. And that's going to make you feel inauthentic. And that's going to make you feel like a liar. You could say, I am a really organized person. But if your home is in chaos, the home is going to win because you're doing your affirmations maybe a few minutes a day, maybe a few minutes in the morning, a few minutes at night. But the home is giving you those messages every time you're home. Even when you're sleeping, your home is giving you those messages. So it's important to put love into your home, because when you put love into your home loves you back. And the most important place in your home is when you open the door, when you come home. What do you see? Is it welcoming, right? So probably the bags of dog food that you know, if you come in through the garage and you open the door and that's where the bags of dog food are, or, you know, like the laundry. So if the first thing you see when you come home is the laundry room, you're going to feel like I'm always doing laundry. And if the first thing you see is the bedroom, you're always going to feel like resting and taking a nap. But if the first thing you see is a beautiful entry table with a furniture that is magnificent, an amazing, luxurious rug under your feet, beautiful art that you chose, that gives you the feeling that I'm doing well. I'm a person with taste. I'm a person that can afford things, right? And so one of the things that I had just shared on my reels on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook was that your foyer needs to feel luxurious. It needs to feel expensive. It doesn't have to be expensive, right? You can go to an estate sale and you can go to a salvage store and buy things for very little money, but they have to look expensive. So then you come home, it was like, this is magnificent. So your foyer needs to be magnificent. And I also have, I have a group program where people can feng shui their home together, work on it in groups. And we do it room by room. And so my chapter for my video library that deals with the foyer is called Magnificent Foyers. Yeah. So your foyer needs to be magnificent. My chapter about entrances, the outside of your home, is called Grand Entrances, because you need to make yourself feel important when you come home. One of the worst things that you could do is have an uninteresting front door. And then when you try to open the door and it doesn't even open fully because you have...
Oh, yeah. Like it has the dog food behind it and you can't get it the whole way open.
Yeah. Or those doors that if you open them with force, they hit back at you because they bounce from the clutter. And so you need to control what you see when you first come home. And this, if you come in through the garage door, then you need to take care of your front door and also the garage door. But this is going to have a huge effect in your life. If everywhere you turn, you see something that makes your heart sing, if you see something that sparks joy, if you fill your home with beauty, your life is going to change. And one thing, one little thing can make such a difference. So, for example, when I'm sitting here in my office nook, which is in our family room, I also have a view of my dining room at the end wall, right? And my dining room, when it had a nice chandelier that was chosen by the contractor with, it was very, very classic new house contractor kind of thing, right? And one day I realized I don't like the lampshades. I don't really like those. And I went to a store and I got this beautiful retro green glass and lampshades, right? And I replaced them. And that made such a difference. It transformed my whole dining room. And every time I look at those, I'm like, I'm so in love with those, right? Where before, when I looked in that direction, I was like, man, I guess that's nice, but just getting that lift in your spirit every time you look at something you love, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I agree. I was married for 10 years and then I got divorced and I was looking at houses to buy and it was making me sad. And then I built a house. It's a long story. I bought a lot and I wasn't even working full time when I bought this lot, but then my teaching job went full time and I got a mortgage and I built it. And so
you really live fearlessly.
Yeah, it was really healing because I got to pick the dining room chandelier and, everything is like what I think is beautiful. And also when I look around, I'm like proud of myself because I believed in myself enough to, believe that I could build a house one day. So
your home sets the stage for your success. Your home is evidence that you can get things done. Your home is evidence that you can choose things. Your home is evidence that you can take care of yourself and your children. That is so powerful. That is beautiful.
So what's the best color for a front door? My front door is red.
Well, the classic Feng Shui color for a front door is red. It's
Okay.
actually red. And some consultants say your door should be red. Now, there's other people that say, according to the compass direction, your door should be the color that goes with the compass direction. That is rubbish. Your door should be a color you love. So the main characteristic of your front door is that it needs to be noticeable. It needs to be beautiful. The most noticeable color in the spectrum is red. A red door calls more attention to itself. So the front door needs to call attention. But if you don't like the color red, maybe you like a bright teal, maybe you like a yellow, maybe you like a blue. And so the color of your door needs to be a color that you love. But your door also needs to be bright. And so say, for example, that you live in a house that the door is black. And that doesn't call a lot of attention, but you can have beautiful planters on the sides of your door that are colorful, or you could even have them in neutral colors, but put colorful flowers in them. Your door needs to call attention. It needs to be a grand entrance. You need to feel like, kind of like I'm coming into my palace.
Yeah.
Through my door.
Yeah. And then when it comes to going back to the whole under the bed thing, you said that if you have to put something under your bed to store things, if you have no room, store extra bedding under the bed rather than taxes and papers. Is this true?
Oh, definitely. So, and of course, some people live in small homes and they have to use the space under the bed for storage. So don't get those plastic containers.
Okay.
Get metal under the bed storage that are on casters so they can be pulled out easily. Get the metal open with no lids and only store large things in there. So for example, it can be extra bedding, it could be extra pillows. But the main thing is you need to be able to pull those out once a week and clean under the bed. But if you at all can avoid having things under your bed, you should have that space completely clear.
Any advice for people who want to invite more romance into their lives? So I'm single. One thing I did was I used to have my cat's litter box like in front of my spare sink. In my master, I had both sinks.
Yeah.
And then I have my cat's litter box in front of the spare sink.
You're saying the cat is your partner.
But I don't really feel like I want somebody living in my house. But I also want, romance eventually, but I don't even know if it's gonna be here with me and the kids, or if it's gonna be when I'm older. Should I move the litter box anyway, even if I don't want to invite some live-in boyfriend? Should I move it still to invite romance?
So the litter box should be hidden.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. It should be hidden and it should be covered if possible. Get one of those litter boxes that are large and they have a high cover, because otherwise you end up with litter everywhere, right? So the litter box needs to be hidden. You need to have a fan in the space where you have the litter box, because we can get nose blind really, really quickly. So you may not smell the litter box, but when a visitor comes in, they can smell the litter box. So there's this very simple, they're cylindrical, about maybe 10 inches by 6 inches wide. And they are carbon filters and they really take care of that smell. So it should be hidden, you should take care of smells, and it should be covered so you don't end up with litter everywhere. And find a place in your home where it's not going to be in the way of anything.
Yeah.
So, for example, it could be in the garage, it could be in the laundry room, or it could be in a bathroom that is not your main bathroom. How many bathrooms have you got?
I've got 2. And for everybody listening, if you have a cat, I love the crystal litter. It's it doesn't smell at all. The sandy litter smells funny, but the crystal is so awesome. And my cat goes outside most of the time. He just uses the outdoors, but I don't know. I actually moved it back in front of my double sink because I was I don't need a man.
Can you cover it up?
Maybe. But what are some other ways to invite romance into
Okay,
our lives? Do you
so
have any?
inviting romance mostly is going to happen in the primary bedroom, right? And so what you want to do is you want to arrange your bedroom as if you already had a partner.
Yeah.
So you need to have a bed that fits two people comfortably. So that would be minimum a queen size bed. So a queen size or a king size bed, not a full size, because that's not enough for two people. Then you need to have nightstands on each side of the bed, and they need to be equal. Not They not necessarily have to be like the same set, but they need to be equal in size and height and color. Then the top drawer on the side of the bed where you don't sleep, that needs to be empty.
Okay.
Okay.
I need to do that.
You need to have equal or very similar lamps on each side of the bed. Behind the headboard, you shouldn't have anything that is heavy or has glass on it.
Because it could fall on your head. Because it could fall
on
on
your
your head.
head. Yeah, especially if
Yeah.
you get enthusiastic.
Yeah, do a tapestry or nothing. Just have a headboard.
Yeah, or you can do canvas, a canvas wraparound, that's very light, and if it fell on you, it wouldn't hurt you. And across from the bed, an image of a valley with no water. It could be an image of farming because that's very stabilizing, but no animals. Yeah, right. It could be like a vineyard. It could be just those images, those aerial views of farm country where you see like checkered patterns of the farming plots.
Yeah.
It could be a meadow. But if you use a meadow, you shouldn't be able to count the individual flowers, right? Now, in the bedroom, don't have anything that is just one off. So for example, you wouldn't have a painting of one rose. You need to have two. And you wouldn't do three because that means love triangle, right?
Oh my gosh.
Or a couple, right?
That's true.
Unless you want like a really unusual relationship, you need to emphasize the number two.
So the two
butterflies.
Good. I have two sailboats. That's good.
The one elephant, no.
No.
No, because it's single, right? So you need to make a decision. And do you want to be single or do you want to be partnered right now? Do you want to date or do you want to find a person, your person, right? And so based on what you want right now, we do that, right? And so it was one of my most beautiful consultations. I was working with a college kid. He was a musician. So he was doing like a master's or in music, right? Yeah. And he told me, I want to have a very rich dating life, but I don't want to get settled, right? Okay. And so we arranged his bedroom so it would be kind of comfortable for a partner, but not too comfortable, right? Because he didn't want to settle, he didn't want to get married. And so
you like made the player bedroom for him.
Right now is precious.
That's cute.
Yeah. So like for him, we gave him, you're supposed to have like equal distance or on the sides of your bed, or at least the width of your nightstand. So you know what I mean? So each of the partners can walk comfortably to their side and not the bed against the wall. If you have the bed against the wall, you're blocking the entrance of the partner, right? And so in his case, we separated the bed a little bit from the wall so that a person could walk to that side of the bed, but sideways. A little bit uncomfortable, right? And we decorated the bedroom beautifully, but it was exactly what he wanted, right? He wanted to have a rich dating life, but he didn't want any of the girls that he dated to get an idea that he was ready for marriage. Right? So it was.
You're like, let's put this bed so that nobody thinks he needs to text them the next morning. Okay.
And it was so much fun working on that, right? Because he was also an artist. He was a musician, but he was also the plastic artist. And so everything had beautiful colors. I mean, it was something that would make a partner feel safe with him, but it also would not give him the idea that would not be true that he was ready to settle, because he wasn't. He wasn't even close to being ready to settle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said, with the master, if you are ready to settle, have room on both sides of the bed, have your lamps and your nightstands with the empty drawer. But with kids, we're supposed to put their bed against the wall, right? Because that makes them
Yes,
feel safe
yes.
and secure.
It makes them feel safer. It makes them feel more like cuddly, and it prevents falls.
Yeah.
Children do fall off the bed, right? And so the one thing that is recommended for children's bedroom, which is to put the bed against the wall, is not recommended for a couple where you need to have access on both sides of the bed. If you have one of the partners having to climb over the other partner so they can go to the bathroom, or have to do the crab walk, to the front of the bed so that they can go to the bathroom, that is an unequal relationship. And the thing that you want to emphasize in relationships is equality.
Mhm.
This is equality of importance, not equality literally, because no two people are equal, but they're equally important. So basically, if you are single and you find a partner, you visualize the partner you want to have. And then decorate your bedroom as if you were decorating it with that partner.
Is that what you mean when you say that a house is a three-dimensional vision board? Is that what you mean? Like it's like you
Yes.
walk around as if you already have what you want. Yeah.
Can you use the home as a vision board? And just, you absolutely can, right? So for example, you have two sailboats right there. But the question is, do you like to sail?
I do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
So your ideal partner would be somebody who probably already has a boat and has experience in sailing, right?
Yeah. I love boats.
Like if you were afraid of water, that would be the totally wrong choice for you to have two sailboats over there, right? A sailboat also is a symbol of independence.
Mhm.
So are you a very independent person who wants to find a partner who's also very independent? And that might mean that sometimes you go on trips by yourselves, that you go somewhere and he goes somewhere else. Would you be okay with that?
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
would? Then it's the right choice for you. But for most people, that wouldn't be okay. For most people, they would be like, I don't want to go to Italy on a summer vacation while he goes to Alaska, right?
Mhm.
And so for people who felt that way, it would be the wrong choice, even if they love boats, because the sailboat means going somewhere.
Mhm.
So these ideas of travel are usually not ideal for the bedroom because you want stability in the bedroom, right? But if your particular case is that you are very independent and you want to marry a very independent person, then it's okay for you.
Yeah.
But here's another thing, right? In most cases, women make all the choices for the home. So I had a client that called me the husband whisperer because her husband, he would eventually agree with everything we wanted to do. Like in the beginning, he would resist it, and then he would eventually agree. And the reason he agreed is because I always insisted with her that she needs to ask for his opinion. Most women, if they want to get a new rug for the living room, they buy it, and the husband comes home and he's like, oh, a new living room. They weren't even consulted, right? And they might have been consulted about the price, but they were not consulted with the choice. And so I tell women, if you are going to make a large purchase for the home, especially, right, you need to find 5 or 7 that you love and then give those choices to your partner. And when you are decorating your home, looking for a partner, don't be too idiosyncratic if you are single, right? I don't know if this is making sense. If you are decorating a bedroom just for yourself and you want to stay single and you want to do something crazy in your bedroom, that's fine. But if you want to find a partner, don't do anything too crazy in the bedroom because that kind of closes the door to the opinion of another person. So you
Yes.
So you kind of keep it conservative. You keep it like kind of like you would decorate it at a store if you want to sell the bed, kind of thing. But don't add too many pillows because that's bad feng shui, right? Just 2 pillows for the head, 2 pillows for the back, 4 pillows. So the idea is that it's kind of a blank page, your bedroom, right? It's beautiful, it's pleasant, it has things you love, but you don't do anything too idiosyncratic. You don't do anything that is just too unique in the bedroom while you're looking for a partner. Say, for example, that you like tie-dye, right? And
Oh,
so
yeah. I just have tie-dye earrings, but none in the bedroom.
I wasn't thinking those are tie-dye. I was thinking that there's
I know
another
what you mean.
term, boho, kind of,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's think of tie-dye because that is more particular, right? Your earrings are conservative next to tie-dye.
Yeah.
And so say you love tie-dye and you do yoga and you love mandalas. So you could decorate your bedroom where you paint a mural that is all tie-dye style and with some mandalas in it, right? And so in doing that, it means that if you got married to a man who was not into those things, you would have to redecorate the bedroom so that he wouldn't feel unhappy or out of place, right? However, if you were a yoga teacher and you are like, I would never marry somebody who is not as crazy into yoga and tie-dye and bohemian life as I am,
Yeah.
then it would be okay because that's the kind of person you want to attract. But if you are not quite sure what that person would be like, or if you expect that person will be a little bit more conservative, then you don't do anything really different. Can I ask you, what's behind your head on your wall?
So
Circle art.
the koi
Yeah.
fish. And so I kind of do have my house staged like a 3D vision board. Like I have the koi fish
Uh-huh.
because the koi fish can grow really big even in a small pond. So I live in a small
Okay.
town, but I
Yeah.
feel like I can grow my business and I can grow my life as big. Like I have, possibilities everywhere. Even though I might look around and see, oh, I live in a small town. So that's why I have the koi fish because they can get a lot done and
So
grow
that's
really
that's
big
very
even with
symbolic.
like
Now,
limited
on
resources.
your screen right now, I can't quite see the whole image, so I couldn't tell they were fish.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that feels to me like it'd be better like in the relationship corner of your home, but not inside the bedroom. So the relationship corner is the back right of your home where you're looking at the home from across the street. What do you
Oh.
have there?
Mhm.
What do you have in that corner?
So I am sitting in the relationship corner of my home. So if you look at my house and you see the garage and all that,
Mhm.
this is the back right corner of my home. I am like, this is where
Oh,
my office is. Uh-oh.
that's your office?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I thought maybe like you had an office in the bedroom or something
Oh, I
like that. So
do.
that's
This
good.
is my
That's a
bedroom
good
and
look.
this is
So
my
the two sailboats are good. The koi image is good. Yeah, but it wouldn't be the best for the bedroom. For some reason, I get the sense that you are in the bedroom. Yeah, so that is the relationship corner of your home. Those are good images for the home. You need another elephant. Yeah, and so the idea, like um, that you live in a small community, and sometimes you may live in a community that is not open to what you do. So, for example, if you were doing astrology and you live in a small southern town in the Bible Belt, it might be very hard for you to find clients for your astrology business in your town, right? But today, with the internet, you can find clients anywhere in the world with the right marketing and the right social media content and stuff, right?
yeah.
But it is, I think you chose it perfectly for that symbology and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I know we're not supposed to keep like workout equipment in the bedroom. This is my bedroom. It's a very big bedroom. And so my desk, it is in my bedroom. Just
Oh,
FYI.
okay. So my
Yeah.
sense that your office is in your bedroom was correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a story about the elephant and then I'll ask you the next question. But
Yeah.
elephants remove obstacles. They are the remover of obstacles.
Yeah.
And that goes back to Eastern religion and India. But so that's why I like the elephant. And I
But you
used to
can put
teach.
it in another room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
Is it?
I used to teach
Yeah.
elementary school and I would tell this was, they probably thought I was cray cray, but all my students loved me. It was elementary. And I would tell them, like your struggles, your obstacles, they are not permanent. And I like elephants because they remind me of this. They remind me that the obstacles are not permanent. We can go around them, above them.
Yeah.
they might just dissolve into thin air. And my students were always like, huh, the elephants.
It's a great image, maybe just not for the bedroom, right? Like,
Yeah,
so
totally.
ideally, you don't want to have the office in your bedroom. If you have to have it because there's no other way, like it's the only place where you can have an office, right? Then you need to kind of separate it, maybe with a screen or something. So it, because right now, what it can do to you, speaking of the home as a vision board,
Yeah.
right? It could be like, I'm married to my work.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a partner because I'm married to my work, right?
Mhm.
And so if that's your reality right now, your home is reflecting that reality. If you don't want that reality to be the same next year, then you make a change. And so that might mean that you move your office out of the bedroom,
Yeah.
or it might mean that you kind of enclose the office and give it its own space, right? And sometimes I think one of the beauties of Feng Shui is that you discover what the person actually wants.
Yeah, you
Sometimes,
discover
yeah,
what your client wants, and the
yeah,
client discovers what they want, you know?
yes, because
Yeah.
sometimes in their mind, they might say, I am ready for something. And so I had a client early on that she told me, I am ready. I was divorced 10 years ago. I haven't dated in 10 years. I'm ready to start dating again. So we did the feng shui of her home with the idea that she would call in a partner. We worked on her bedroom. Her bed was against the wall on the side, right? So we separated from the wall. And then she had a date, like within a week, she got a date. I don't remember how. And then after the day, she told me, you know what? I'm not ready. But I just had to go in that one date to realize I wasn't ready. And so sometimes the conscious intentions that you have don't match what your soul actually wants.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Moni, any last tip when it comes to making your house that three-dimensional vision board? Perhaps like tips for other rooms, kitchen, living room, so that when somebody does look around their house, it does reflect their vision and their ideal life.
Yes. And so in Feng Shui, we use a tool called the Bawa map, which is like a tic-tac-toe shape that you put over the floor plan of your home. And it tells you where your life areas are, which is wealth, reputation, relationships, health and family, gratitude, creativity, then wisdom, the ability to learn, career, and travel, right? So we have these 9 life areas. And we set up this Bawa map over the floor plan. And then we place reminders on each of these corners or midpoints of your Bawa map. We put reminders that represent what you want in each life area. And if for any life area you're not sure what you want, we represent something that expresses the health of a life area. So for example, let me use this wealth, because most people are interested in wealth, relationships, and career, right? And those are just 3 of the 9 life areas, but let's just focus on wealth, right? Some people, when they do their vision board, they put a mansion on there. And most people will not be happy in a mansion.
Yeah.
Most people have never visited a mansion unless it was a museum that used to be a mansion hundreds of years ago, right? But most people haven't stepped into a mansion and they don't know what it's like. So Feng Shui recommends that you get a house that is a little small for you, because it's better to have a house that is smallish and full of people you love than to have a mansion full of staff you have to pay, right? And so for a lot of people, they have this confused idea of what wealth represents. And they're like the luxury car, the private jet, the mansion, the yacht, when it doesn't really fit their lifestyle, right? So for example, in that case, if the person is not sure what they want in terms of wealth, we may put a feng shui cure that represents wealth, which is a tree. We might put a little image of a tree or a plant that is really healthy and stuff to bring in the energy of what you need to be wealthy, which is work and vision. Wealth is made of work and vision and connections and skills, right? And so by applying the Bawa map to a home and placing reminders of a person's goals, that's how you set up your home for success. And if people come to my community, if they join my community, we have games inside of the community. So there are games that you can play to get your free Bagua map and take a little course on how to apply your Bagua map.
Wow, I love this.
Yeah.
Do you have any success story that you want to share where a client like really did double their income or find love or you worked your feng shui magic? And I loved your example of sometimes be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. You know, like your client got the date and then she realized that was not what she wanted. So that's interesting in itself. But any stories where like you had a client, they had a vision and the feng shui helped them achieve their goal?
Yeah, let me share two stories because you have a home run business, right? So I ran this course called Feng Shui for a Home Run Business. And one of my clients, she tripled her income in a month. She made these very simple changes in her home. And they were mainly to remind herself that she has a business. Sometimes when you get home, there's the children, there's the tasks, there's the dishes, there's the mopping, right? And you kind of forget you're running a business. So we made some changes like that. She tripled her income. And then another person that was taking the same course, on the home run business, he had a business that was an online business. But for years, he had wanted to have a brick and mortar business of a different kind. And it was on his list of things he needed to do someday, right? So when he started to apply the Feng Shui cures to grow his online business, he was offered an opportunity to actually buy a business that he could afford. That was his dream business. That was a brick and mortar business. And that business is doing fantastic today, and this was about a year ago. So sometimes, you just start making more money because you're doing the right things, because your mind is in the right place. You're making the right choices. Other times, life tells you, the life force tells you, that's not for you. You need to be doing this other thing, right? And sometimes it's like the story I told you, this woman thought she wanted a partner. She didn't want a partner.
Yeah.
She had already been married twice. And she was like, she might at some point feel like dating, but she definitely didn't want to get married again. And so Feng Shui is uncanny in how you may make a change in your home and something happens immediately. And another one of my clients, he's in Florida and he was getting 2 new clients he's a healer. He was getting 2 new clients per month. And after I had him rearrange his foyer to invite more abundance, he started getting 2 new clients per week, right? And so there's so many stories, there's also stories of marriages, for example, marriages that were struggling, and after they did Feng Shui, they started getting along. This is one of my favorite case studies. Is this gal in Canada. She's married. She has 2 kids, and she told me once, my husband would be perfect if he talked more. Like in everything else, he's just the ideal husband, but he just doesn't communicate, right? But through this process of applying Feng Shui and always asking for his opinion, he started seeing his opinion was valuable. And she sent me an email one day and she said, since we implemented this cure that you suggested, now we're having minimal conversations every single evening after dinner. Right? And so that's a huge change. That's something that surprised her because she thought that was just part of his personality and that was just not going to change. Yeah.
So I love what you said about inviting abundance by making your entryway beautiful. I think I'm going to swap one of my pieces of furniture for the other and just kind of swap it so that my entryway is even better than it already is.
Yeah, so that first impact is like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other tips for inviting wealth or prosperity into your home? I know you've said like the kitchen is kind of the center for abundance and prosperity. I just keep my kitchen clean. That's what I do.
Each room in the home has a relationship to a life area, right? So like obviously the primary bedroom is associated with romantic love. And then the kitchen is the room for wealth because it's the room of productivity. And you have, remember I said the work and the vision and the skills, right? So your kitchen is producing foods for you and your family. And so my number one advice for the kitchen is get rid of gadgets and utensils you do not use. Because I think every Christmas people get, like the nut milk maker and the pressure cooker and the bread maker and the banana cutter, banana slicers, and so all these gadgets that you don't actually need, or the food processor, and then they don't use it, or they use it once, or they use it for a month and then they forget. It just feels wrong to let that go. But if you're not using that, first of all, you're preventing another person from using it. If you keep a food processor in your home, that like those devices that chop vegetables and all that, right? And you're not using it, there's another person out there that is going to thrift stores hoping to find one of those, right? And so by letting go of that, you bless that person. You make room in your kitchen, especially if your kitchen is not huge, right? And that can be invaluable counter space. So go through your drawers, go through your counter, start with the countertops, right? Are there any devices there that you're not using? Let go of those. And then go to the drawers. Are there any utensils there that you're not using? Why keep them? Somebody else is looking for them. Somebody else, if you take that to the Goodwill or the Salvation Army or any thrift store, somebody else is going to walk in there and it's going to feel like the luckiest person on earth because they found that thing that was just creating clutter in your home. And that's a blessing for you and for them.
Yeah. Isn't that so interesting? By letting go of the things we don't need, we are creating abundance for ourselves in our kitchen, which is the center of abundance.
You make room for the things that you actually need and love.
Yeah, that is so true. And I loved your advice about makeup, like don't put it near the water and near the sink. I actually moved my little makeup cart into my walk-in closet in front of my mirror.
Awesome. I'm so happy you did that. And also, like my handle is at Feng Shui for Us, which is the name of my business, Feng Shui for Us. So it's at Feng Shui for Us on TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube. And so follow me. What I'm trying to do with these reels is just in every single video, give you a piece of advice that has the ability to change your life. Like what you did, right? Like doing your makeup uncomfortable in the bathroom to now doing it in a place where you can actually take your time. And so the results are better, right?
Yes. Yes. At Feng Shui for Us, US. I have been looking at your TikToks, obviously researching for this interview, and I really appreciate you being here. And it's so fun having you. And so that's where everyone can find you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah. And any last tip before we sign off today, Miss Moni?
Yeah, don't block your path. I don't care how difficult you think it is to organize your home. Do not block your path. Clear the floor in your foyer and clear the floors in your hallways and clear the floors on your staircases. And that's a really good place to start.
Yes, there's always some place that we can start. So just start, take any of these little tips that Moni shared and make it your to-do list. And that completes our episode for today. Thank you for being here at Dissolving Fear. If this podcast content felt true for you, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Feel free to explore over 90 episodes of this podcast. And I'm always sharing your favorite ways to dissolve fear and live your ideal life every single day. So thank you for being here, and check out missalissa.com for coaching, free resources, and my monthly newsletter. And Miss Moni, I will link all of your websites in the episode description and show notes. Thank you.
Thank you.